When I came to this place in 1964, I had no idea what was in store for me. I had no idea where Nantucket was in 1964, more or less Nantucket. And here I am, 50 years later, reflecting on just how I became Beverly Hall Photography. And it all started on South Wharf at the Children's Gallery. I gave classes to children in order to sustain my art on Nantucket, in order to have a reason to be able to stay on Nantucket to make a living. It all happened rather spontaneously. The kids were doing portraits of themselves, looking into the mirror, and I was looking into them, and looking at them, I should say, and photographing them. I just happened to pick up my camera from time to document what we were doing and the creative process that the kids were doing. And the self-portrait exhibition turned out to be a real wow with the parents. They came in, they saw their children's portraits, and they saw my photograph. And when they said, can we buy that picture? And I said, sure, it's your child's self. No, we want the photograph. And then I realized that I may have something going here. And one thing led to another, and the rents went up, and I decided I was not going to stay on the wharf, and I reinvented myself as Beverly Hall Photography. Took to my bicycle, put my name on my back, and the rest is history. After photographing people for the last 50 years, I should say, really 40 years, I have found that I have taken pictures of some of Nantucket's really special folks who are no longer here with us. When I put together my Passion for People exhibition, for example, I saw pictures of people that I didn't even remember taking their portraits, but I had photographs of them, and they became important. It became history. It became a part of my history in Nantucket. But the family and the children are my real love. The continuity between children growing up and children as brides walking down the aisle with their husbands and then coming back to me years later with their families. I mean, that to me, that continuity, that history, that heritage really gives my life meaning. I've seen it in my own work over the years now, and I'm hoping to put together something that goes a little beyond passion for people, which of course is my theme. If it weren't for that, I wouldn't be doing what I do. I have a passion for people, I have a passion for photography. And my real passion is for the spirituality, if you will, of the people that I photograph. Their inner selves, not just what they look like and that make them look good. There's just something more. Photography has allowed me a communicative place to touch base with people on a deeper level, not just a surface level. Beverly Hall. Is that a person or a place? I was once asked that by a little girl who was coming to my art school. And her mother told me the story that she was very confused whether Beverly Hall was a place she was going to or a person she was going to see. Well, I'm both. I am Beverly Hall, and Nantucket is my place. For 5 years, we've had Shakespeare here in my garden. This year will be our 8th Shakespeare event, and it will be at the casino in Sconset. But the early days here in Nantucket, when Shakespeare was first performed on the stage over there, were very carefree and spontaneous moments. People would come and wear costumes or hats, finger food everywhere, a falconer, people sat on hay bales. It was quite authentic. It was one of those, if you have an idea, you have to invent it and follow through. And I did not know what this event was going to look like. I was just following my intuition and following the lead of the bard. I would say, all the world's a stage. I would say, to be or not to be, and run out and create something or think of a way to put that message to good use. I would think about, if music be the food of love, play on, then I would think about the food and how we would serve people and what we would serve them. I was inspired by Shakespeare. I've always loved Shakespeare. I've never been as knowledgeable, but I want to also emphasize that we want to make sure that Shakespeare is very user-friendly here, so that people can experience it by wearing the costumes and feeling part of the play, and by experiencing some Elizabethan fare to eat, and Elizabethan food as well as drink. There was just a great feeling of festivity here, and my gardens came alive with the people, strolling musicians and strolling players, and the Great Barber being a scene from Twelfth Night, Malvolio strutting around with his yellow stockings. It was all very heady and all very, for me, fun, but it was more than fun. It was juicy. I mean, it was vibrant. There was something going on. The garden came alive. The fairies came dancing through the cosmos. They came through the gate. The sound of Mendelssohn, the Midsummer Night Dream, the Wedding March, it all just made the garden vibrate. Very inspiring days. Well, I think it was about 15 years ago when I expressed to my friend Reggie Levine my interest in the Arts Council. It was called the Arts Alliance at one point, but I always wondered what it would be like to be on a board. Well, I found out. And about 12 years ago, I got a letter from Peter Greenhouse, which said, "We'd like to welcome you to the Arts Council." And that was the beginning. We were meeting at St. Paul's Church in their living room there in the parish house, church where I'm a member. But there were different meetings. It was a pretty relaxed atmosphere. There were about 25 of us. And I didn't know what I was going to get in for, but I started out as a novice on a board. The first thing that I got involved in was the Arts Festival, in a minor way, but just enough to get the excitement about the Arts Festival on Nantucket in the fall. I was photographing and doing things that would lead to my photographing the different events that we did. There were responsibilities to help raise a certain amount of money, as boards do. But then it came a little bit more serious, and we invented something, or I helped invent an attraction, I hope to say, or a signature event, which is the Shakespeare in the Garden. And that's when I learned what it took to be on a board and to sustain and to stay the course of doing something. The other part about the Arts Council that I so admire and applaud is what we do for the youth on Nantucket. We are a council that does hopefully become the umbrella organization for a lot of the other the art organizations, the Athenaeum, the Theater Workshop, but mostly we are known for our grants and scholarships. The sustaining of the youth in their pursuit of art, not only on Nantucket, but in their future. The pride that I have received, particularly when my godson Nigel Goss, a musician who was a recipient of a number of scholarships, taking his career from the Corkish School in Seattle to the wonderful things he's doing on Nantucket with the community orchestra and with his own band. I've seen in one young youth a great deal of pride and growth through the arts. And I feel that's one thing that Nantucket Arts Council does really well. The Arts Council has been especially valuable for the community, doing things to sustain the community in the winter or the early spring with our winter concert series. And as I said, the festival in the fall. I think it's a wonderful opportunity to grow into a very collaborative experience with all the disciplines, all the organizations, the 30 or 40 nonprofits, or 130 and 40 nonprofits. I forgot how many we have on the island, but we have a lot. In reflecting about my many years on the Arts Council, one particular quote from Shakespeare seems to come through for me, and that is, "This above all, to thine own self be true." And it seems that this is quite significant for the arts, because the arts help us see the truth in life. And if we do see that, we can't be false to anyone, especially ourselves.